This presentation is on the Immigration Reform and Control Act, which was created in response to Reagan's immigration reform proposals. It was in the 97th, 98th, and 99th Congresses. However, in this presentation, we will be analyzing the initial failure of the bill in the 97th Congress and the ultimate passage of the bill in the 99th Congress using the political analysis model of incrementalism. So upon entering office, President Reagan saw immigration reform as one of his major issues to address in his administration. On July 30th, 1981, he revealed his extensive proposals to the House and Senate Judiciary Committees, subcommittees on immigration, and subsequently the chairs of these subcommittees sponsored bills in their respective chambers to adhere to the president's proposals. And 3 Congresses later, President Reagan had the opportunity to sign the Immigration Reform and Control Act into law. Okay.
Now, on the incrementalism model, there are 3 elements of incrementalism we will apply to the immigration reform. First, lawmakers seek consensus on all policy changes. Second, lawmakers are not aware of the implications of proposed policy changes. Third, policy changes invoke high risk for lawmakers. On the left column of the table, we have listed ideal points of Reagan as indicated in his initial speech given to Congress. The highlighted points are the most controversial, thus least likely for lawmakers to find consensus on them. Therefore, these proposals were not even considered in committee. Now, on the 99th Congress, we will look at a compromise created in the Judiciary Committee in the 99th Congress. 2 proposals in particular were the most instrumental in the passage of this reform. The first is legal status for immigrants who apply. The second is replenishment workers from the extended H-2 worker program. In principle, both provisions were maintained. However, the wording of each provision was incrementally changed to favor various opposing interests. Therefore, incrementalism can account for the initial failure of the reform. The lawmakers in the 97th Congress did not have the time required to establish consensus on policy change. Differently, the 99th Congress had the time required to hash out many incremental changes in order to suffice or be good enough for opposing interests. Now, on the second element, lawmakers are not aware of the implications of their proposed policy change. One example is how some members in the Judiciary Committee were opposed to many provisions in the compromise. However, such provisions were proposed by other committees in the 97th Congress and would likely add those provisions again. Therefore, we can stipulate that at least some lawmakers are unaware of the implications of the proposed policy change. On the third element, policy change invokes high stakes. Take the Congressional Hispanic Caucus as an example. This group was fiercely opposed to the reform and for the past 2 Congresses. But 4 out of the 9 ended up voting for the bill in the end, claiming it was good enough. As we all know, all members of Congress are single-minded seekers of re-election. Backing a contentious bill may be used against a congressman on the election trail.
In conclusion, the Immigration Reform and Control Act's initial failure and ultimate passage embodies the 3 elements of incrementalism, in that for the bill to pass, legislators had to seek consensus on the immigration policy change, and along the way, the lack of information that lawmakers had on the complexities of the legislation, in addition to the high risk involved, made the process a lot more delayed than what was initially expected.